All right. Welcome to another edition of Sabbath Lounge. This is Matt and
Jake here,
coming to you with another Talking Torah.
talking Torah, just hitting the highlights of this week's Torah portion.
That's right. We appreciate you taking a minute to stop by. We appreciate if you subscribe to our channel, Google us, and find us on other platforms where we exist. But this is week 27, and
this is Tazria, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like anyway.
Yeah. And we got a pregnant lady here.
Yes. So at one point, she conceived.
Yes.
That's the idea, guys.
And it comes from Leviticus 12 through 13. So it's actually fairly short, just a couple of chapters here. And we'll go right into it. And so you get this deal. It talks about circumcision. And on the 8th day. And so we talked about a little bit about Sukkot. What happens on the 8th day of Sukkot?
It's the last great day.
The last great day. So definitely there's got to be, don't you think, a connection between the 8th day of Sukkot and this 8th day circumcision thing?
Yeah, whenever there's numbered things that line up, it's something to take notice of.
Yeah. I'm not saying I understand and can explain it exactly, but I do know there's a connection. Has to be.
Yep.
And then when you read these purification rituals, they're different from the boys versus the girl, and there seems to be this extra atonement for blood.
Now that's if the woman gives birth to a boy or a girl.
That's right. So which one requires a longer atonement process? Oh
dear.
The weather came up.
Weather does that.
Yes.
It comes up. So the girl requires a longer grace period, if you will. And we kind of discussed this before, what kind of we might think the reason is. It never really gives an exact reason, but some speculation on it is that with a girl, that's life. In the woman is life for the next generations. And if she has a boy, there's not more life coming out of that necessarily in the same way. And it's just the way that boys, men and women are different, that has this, and the way that they're connected with bringing life is kind of the idea of why there's a different situation here.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely something for the it's kind of gross to talk about, but something about the blood loss,
right? And
it has to be accounted for. I don't know. It's one of those things where
the whole life is in the blood thing.
Yes. So another piece of life. So, but it was a command for them to do. So, and this whole thing about 8th day circumcision, it turns out that's the point when the body begins to clot, and so it's actually the perfect time.
Right.
And so medicine doesn't necessarily practice that, but they probably should. But so
they
practice
give you a shot of
that's
something
right.
to make it happen.
That's right, because they have to give the baby an additional shot so that they can clot.
Right.
But if they just waited to the 8th day, so all you doctors out there, change this someday.
Right.
So
it's up to you.
That's right. And so then we get to these weird scriptures about a priest. So we got one other thing. So we're going to read from Ezekiel 44:9.
Right. So there's circumcision's this big deal for people, and especially they'll read Paul and say, "Well, Paul, did away with circumcision. That's not a thing anymore." But you have to take the whole Bible as a whole complete story, right? And you have to do something with this Ezekiel reference. So this is talking about entering the millennial reign temple. Okay, this section of Ezekiel, he's going through what the new temple is going to look like when it comes down in the second heaven, new heavens and new earth situation. Thus, says Yahweh Elohim, no stranger, uncircumcised in heart, nor uncircumcised in flesh, shall enter into my sanctuary, of any stranger that is among the children of Israel. So, do with that what you will.
Yeah.
But it sounds like he's making a statement there. That, now, I'm not saying circumcision is required for salvation. Paul clearly teaches against that. I'm just saying, maybe before you enter in the millennial reign, he'll say, this has to happen. You know, I don't know when he's going to have that happen, but I don't know exactly how that works out.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be going up to people with a Bible in one hand and a scalpel in the other. So,
or drop your pants conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We want to read the mail, and this is what the mail is saying. So, do with that what you want. To me, it sounds like he cares about it still.
Well, and that's interesting if that's what you're talking about there in the millennial reign. You're talking about you have a different body at that point. You have or you think you have your fleshly body?
I think that there's a difference between people that have died and been raised again in the millennial reign and people that are still alive in the millennial reign. I think there's a difference there.
And maybe part of these characteristics, there may be some characteristics like circumcision that go with you. I don't know. Possibility.
Never been there, so
I know we don't know. But definitely study this one out. If you're out there and you're not sure and you are uncircumcised, I think it's definitely a conversation that you need to take a look at for sure. And I would not make that choice for anyone, but definitely something worthy of your prayer and maybe prayer and fasting in consideration, because this would be a difficult thing to do older in life for sure.
Right.
But we have lots of examples of other men who made this choice late in life at a point where you just can't hardly imagine such a thing.
Right.
But they did what the Father asked them to do. They grab their knife and start sharpening it. Like, okay, who's next?
Sure, it's real sharp.
Yes.
But yeah, and I mean, we know Paul circumcises Timothy. We know that
and that whole thing is just crazy. Thinking about, hey, would you circumcise me? I mean, it's just like,
right.
It's just so foreign to how we operate today. We would just never imagine doing such a thing to someone, that we know.
Right. But so as they're in the wilderness, this doesn't happen, right? This is a command they're given in the wilderness, and they never do it. And then it's not until just before they enter the promised land that this happens. And so it kind of shows where it is on Yahweh's importance list. It's very important to him, but the heart comes first.
Yeah.
It's you walk it out first, and then the flesh is a sign of your inward.
Yeah.
So that's same with Timothy. It's like the last thing he does.
Yeah.
It's same for these guys going into the promised land. It's like the last thing they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to me, still important.
And definitely my studies lead me to the conclusion that if I was not circumcised, I think that would be something I would probably pursue. So
and
just
cry about a lot.
Yes, yes. But it just seems like probably a pretty good idea for sure. Something that's probably supposed to happen. But anyway, so it's a difficult conversation, but that's a good tie-in. Anything else?
Nope.
So then we're going to move on to other things we see here. So you get all of these skin disease. The priest basically was a dermatologist. What do you think about that, Jake? Was the priest like a dermatologist back then?
He was the everyman. He did everything.
Yeah.
He was master of all.
Yeah, being a priest was, it had some drawbacks for sure. It's like, hey, could you look at this oozy thing on
Let
my
me
back?
squeeze that
Yeah.
oozy thing and then go prepare lunch
Mm-hmm.
at the.
Come back in a few days and see if it's, if the hair turns this and it does this, and then it's this long, lengthy process. And you talk
I
about
hope it was a different guy that was doing the slaughtering of the animals, and then
maybe
the low guy go pick this guy's scabs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But and then you get these mentions of leprosy, and then you also in 24 through 27 you get these mentions of if it's hot and burning, and the quick flesh that burns a white bright spot. Sounds painful, reddish white, so like a fever.
Yeah.
In it, and so that we know today that's never good.
Right.
So
yeah, so it's like it's also like an inflammation thing.
Mm-hmm. And notice nowhere in this text does it say, because we know they have knives. We just talked about circumcision; they got knives. Nowhere does it say in here he doesn't give any instructions about cutting things off. Like we did in the Civil War. Like,
Right.
oh, that you got that injury, your arm's looking kind of bad. We're just going to cut that off of you. You don't need that anymore. And so I think that's interesting because that's kind of a modern medical practice that we might pursue, but it was not here.
Yeah, I don't think they talk too much about gangrene in here.
No, definitely. But some of these things kind of look like they could definitely be bad
Right.
and kind of gross. So, and it uses the word plague about some of these things, but then very specific about some things that you got to do.
Yes, if the plague is in you, you shall be defiled.
And then there's even things about if you've got, beard or head issues. What was that? What do you think that is?
Yeah, so it talks about like spots on your head, or
Mhm.
like now anyone who has a beard knows that this. See that picture down in the right with the big beard and the Sabbath Lounge logo there. That's my big beard. And anyone with a beard knows that thing pulls a lot of moisture out of your skin. And so you can get itchy and patchy if you don't take good care of yourself. So take good care of yourself. Clean yourself, people.
Yes.
Don't let the hair turn white and pussy or whatever.
Yeah, you don't want that. So I do like in 42 it says, and if there be in the bald head or bald forehead a white reddish sore, it is leprosy sprung up on the bald head and his bald forehead. So, but
they really didn't like the bald people.
I guess.
I think it specifically makes a reference in there that it's okay to be bald.
Yeah, so. Definitely. And then in 45 it talks about the clean and unclean and the whole leprosy, and we've done a teaching before about comparing leprosy to sin, and it's kind of an interesting concept about clean and unclean with sin.
Yeah, I think that was a good study that you should go check out.
And is there anything else you want to say? This is a pretty short and sweet, simple chapter. Once again, I say at some point it might not be a bad idea to reconsider reconstructing the Torah portions a little and not do so many that first week where you do 6 chapters at Genesis. But I also go, they've done this since the time of Yeshua, and I guess why change it? But anyway, this is one of those short ones.
Yeah, definitely. You could take a little bit less time dealing with beard hair and a little bit more time dealing with the creation of the world.
Big things. There's just so many things that happen in those first 2 Torah portions where you're like, wait a minute, I need a second here.
Yeah, you barely get through them.
Mm-hmm.
Just so much to discuss.
Them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Point being, go home and read it.
That's right.
For yourself.
That's right. Read.
Find out what we've been missing.
Read the scriptures, and we appreciate you taking a minute to talk Torah with us. And this is Matt and Jake.
Signing out.
Thank you.